Hi and welcome to this week's LRCC Soundbite. Now last week I promised to tell you about some prophets, so I'm going to tell you about Jonah this week. The message that God sent through the prophets was sometimes about what had already happened, sometimes about what was happening now, sometimes about what would happen next, and sometimes about what would happen in the future. Now Jonah was given a message about a city called Nineveh. God wasn't very happy with the way that people there were living their lives. So he told Jonah to go there and tell them that because of the wrong things that they were doing, their city was going to be destroyed. It was pretty catastrophic. Not a really nice message, but quite an important message for the people there to hear. Now, had Jonah just gone there and given them the message, I suspect none of us would ever have even heard of his name. We wouldn't know who he was. But he didn't. What he actually did was head off in completely the wrong direction. He found a boat going the other way. He bought passage and off he sailed. And as he thought, that was it. He wasn't going to end up having to go there because he just wasn't there. God wasn't particularly pleased at this turn of events, of course, so he sent a storm that got worse and it got worse and it got worse. The boat that Jonah was on was in big trouble. The crew, they'd thrown everything overboard that they could possibly try to keep the boat afloat. But they were fighting a losing battle. Eventually, Jonah told the crew that God had sent the storm because of him, because he was trying to run away from the job that God had given him. There's then an amazing moment of self-sacrifice. Jonah tells the sailors that they need to throw him overboard in order to stop the storm and save the boat. Jonah is expecting to drown. He expects that to be his punishment. But something else happens. The Bible describes a very large fish turning up as Jonah is thrown overboard. It's such a big fish that it swallows Jonah whole. Now you might have heard of Jonah and the whale. Whale, fish, whatever. Jonah is saved by this animal and he manages to live for 3 days inside it. During that time he prayed to God and he apologised for what he'd done wrong. And after those 3 days, the fish or whale spat him out on the beach just down the road from Nineveh. So off Jonah goes to Nineveh and he gives them God's message. He then heads up the hill outside of the city to watch it be destroyed. However, something else happens. When the people in the city had heard Jonah's message, they believed it and they started to pray to God and they started to apologise for everything that they'd done wrong and ask God for his mercy and his forgiveness. God heard them and he accepted their prayers and the city was saved. It wasn't destroyed. Just like Jonah really, when he did wrong and expected to drown because of it, he was saved. Jonah didn't quite understand the wonder of all that had happened. In fact, if you read the story, he gets angry at God because the destruction that he'd prophesied to the people didn't happen. But God gently explained that if people will only recognise what they've done and come and say sorry, things can be different. It's exactly the same still today. We can all come to God and we can all ask for his forgiveness. We sometimes call it repentance. It's a bit of a big word, but basically it means more than just saying sorry. It means turning away and trying not to do those same wrong things again. Jesus has made it possible for us to be forgiven, and he'll help us if we ask him. He'll help us to turn away and not do those things again. Now don't get me wrong, we still slip up. It's not always easy by any means, but God is always there and he will keep picking us up as we keep trying again and again. If you want to read some of these stories for yourself, but you don't have a Bible, then if you live on our estate, head to our website and request one. We'd love to bring one round to you for free. If you'd like to find out more or chat to us about what we're doing here at LRCC, you can always email us as well. We love you to get in touch. One last thing, if you've got a few more minutes, then I've also published a video from our puppet team. It's got the story of Jonah and the whale. They made it a couple of months ago. I pinched their background. That's what's behind me. God bless you. Enjoy the puppets and I'll see you next week.